Hello from Dodger Stadium. I'm Jack Harris. This is Dylan Hernandez from the LA Times. We're previewing this upcoming National League Division Series between the Dodgers and the Padres. And Dylan, it's starting with maybe what you could say is a surprise. The Dodgers are doing the simple thing with their pitching. They're starting Julio Urias game 1, Clayton Kershaw game 2. They had talked about maybe flipping them, but they're going to keep it steady with the Cy Young candidate as their game 1 starter. Is that the right move?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Seriously, who would have thought? You know, I was totally prepared to write the, like, oh, here they are overthinking in October again, which has kind of become, unfortunately, a pattern here, right? And I think that this is, you know, a real sign of progress, I guess, for this front office in a way that, like, look, they're really good at constructing teams, right? They're really good at running a farm system and kind of having, you know, these teams that can have sustained success year after year. Come October, though, sometimes, you know, you think that maybe, you know, their paranoia or whatever it is gets the best of them and they kind of make some weird decisions like they did last year. You know what? They're better than the Padres. They should, and they're just, you know, and they're behaving like it, right? This is our team. Here we are, no gimmicks. We're just going to run over you like we did in the regular season.
When you look at this series, what are the things that stand out? Obviously, the Dodgers were really dominant over San Diego in the regular season. They went 14-5. They won all 6 of the individual series. They've been good against the Padres really for a long time now. How much of a chance do you give San Diego to make this interesting? And what are the things the Dodgers need to be most worried about?
Yeah, well, they do have, you know, the Padres do have talent, right? I don't think they have the depth that the Dodgers do, but any team with Manny Machado and Juan Soto and, you know what, like Grisham is, you know, showed well in the Mets series. And then, you know, you have the pitchers in games 2, 3, and 4 and Darvish, Snell, and Musgrove, right? So those are guys that could, you know, sure, I could see it hypothetically happening. But you know what, the Dodgers' depth is just so much. And I do think that, you know what, by naming Urias as kind of the game 1 starter there and saying, you're basically saying, okay, we don't need him out of the pen in game 5, right? We have the bullpen. And they've been talking about how they believe that this is the most talented bullpen that they've ever had here, at least in the in the Dave Roberts era. They're showing it, right? And through their actions. So like, and I think that kind of rubs off on, you know, that kind of trickles down into the clubhouse, right? You know, conversely, you know, had they gone the other way and started Kershaw in 1 and, you know, now all of a sudden you're talking about a scenario where Kershaw gets knocked out early in 5 and, right, Urias is needed out of the pen for the rescue. Like, why are you even throwing that out in the universe, right? I think that has kind of a negative effect, you know, and as soon as, you know, you kind of look at that Mets series, right? As soon as they started talking about, well, maybe DeGrom doesn't have to pitch in this series, you kind of knew things were going to go awry there. So, you know, I like, again, the fact that they're the favorites and they're really kind of behaving like it. What do you think are kind of the key points here?
Yeah, I think it's kind of what you said. I look at the Dodgers bullpen as obviously being something that they really like. There's a lot of depth, but they also don't have a defined closer. They have a lot of guys who don't have a ton of October experience. And given the state of their rotation, you know, after Julio and Clayton Kershaw, they're going to be relying on Tyler Anderson. They're going to be relying on Tony Gonsolin in sort of a bullpen game. So that group in the bullpen is going to be asked to take down a lot of innings, a lot of important innings. And I think, you know, for as good as they've been in the regular season, a lot could hinge there. A lot could hinge depending on if somebody like Blake Treinen's back, how they decide to go between, you know, either Craig Kimbrell or if they're going to put Dustin May on the roster or try to save him to build up in the NLCS. Chris Taylor looks like he's going to be healthy on the position player side, but I think there's still some questions about the bottom of their lineup and what they're going to get, especially from whoever's playing center field and left field. So it's not an infallible team, but I think, like you said, you know, when you look at the top of the lineup, you look at the top of the rotation, they have enough firepower. They've shown it all year. They have enough to beat the San Diego team. They're getting the rest of this weekend compared to what the Padres had to go through in New York in a pretty tough 3-game series. So everything's lined up for the Dodgers, and it's just going to be about, you know, executing and playing like they have during the regular season when they won 111 games.
So my favorite part of these videos, prediction time. Best of 5, who do you have and in how many games?
I think the Dodgers in 4. I think, you know, maybe Darvish in game 2 could be tough. He's been pretty good against them, but the Dodgers have had a lot of success against everybody else on the Padres staff. They're going to be rested. And I think, yeah, it might get a few games might get a little interesting, but I think the Dodgers in 4.
Okay, you know what? I was going to say the same exact thing with the Padres winning that exact game. So you know what? I'll one-up you. Dodgers in 3.
All right. Well, you guys can follow along all our coverage at LATimes.com. We'll be out here all week and in San Diego over the weekend for this NLDS between the Dodgers and the Padres.